So I'm Kate Ryan. I am the producer and director of the feature documentary Welcome Nowhere, which I am proud is screening here at the Cleveland International Film Festival. Welcome Nowhere is a story about a community of Roma people, commonly known as gypsies, and their struggle for basic human rights after centuries of racism. I am neither Bulgarian nor Roma, but my best friend is actually Bulgarian, and her dad runs a nonprofit organization that works with the Roma people in Eastern Europe. And so I worked for his organization as their videographer while I was going to film school. And so every summer I got to go to Eastern Europe, Turkey, Romania, and Bulgaria, and work with Roma communities on short-term trips. And it was on these trips that I got exposed to the marginalization of this people group, and I was really surprised to learn about racism that existed in the 21st century to such an extent that people would be denied access to health care and access to education, turned away from restaurants, that sort of thing. So I was really intrigued, and I knew that there were a lot more questions that I wanted answered, and I decided to make this film as a way for me to explore the issue and learn more. So in documentary filmmaking, you can't script scenes. You just have to hope that things happen. There's only so much producing that you can do before you're interrupting and intruding into a natural environment. You're always lucky when something happens that you happen to catch. And we have one such scene that I'm really proud of in the film. We were visiting a Roma woman in her home with her 3 kids, and she was sharing the struggles of keeping her kids in school, and we just had a nice time chatting with them. And then towards the end of our time there, one of her older sons came home and had found a bunch of toys in the dumpster that he was able to give to his younger siblings. So we just got to sit and observe as these very, very poor children who had all of their toys found from the dumpster just light up with joy as they got to play with these Barbies, essentially. And just to get to witness that, I felt very privileged to get to see a glimpse of their daily life and get to see a little thing that brings them joy. And it definitely brought things home for me. And so the whole film kind of ends up taking on a perspective of the children and what it's like growing up as a kid in such a destitute community, what it's like to try to have hope in this community and to try to look towards the future when you have very, very little opportunities. I was essentially directing a film in a different language, and that created many difficulties during production in terms of having a translator on set with us at all times. But then it created a much greater task when we got home and had all this footage to mull through that I couldn't understand. So after production, we essentially had to have every clip of the film translated in order for me to know what I even had. We had a translator in Bulgaria working. I would send her clips. She would send them back, transcribed, and then I thankfully had some great assistant editors helping me add subtitles to the parts that I wanted to use. So I basically did a paper edit and then cutting those scenes down once they had subtitles added to them.